Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. Let's go.
Let's go, guys. This is the Cloud9 podcast, season 1, episode 5. And you know what means for this episode, guys? It's MSI week. Finally, we did not get MSI last year because of, world issues. I can't say that word on, YouTube because they just censor you and shit. So, let's go. So, how are you guys doing this week, actually? How you guys doing?
All right.
I'm unemployed, so I'm okay.
So, what's been going on in your guys' neck of the woods since you're kind of, on a chill time,
I actually I'm rendering I'm rendering like 6 videos today and uploading them all today. I know I have a lot of I know Magi and Vega are doing a lot of research right now, and everyone's doing a lot of research for MSI to kind of know what's going on with these minor regions. So what I did for the time that I had to practice casting, I went and recorded myself solo casting all of the semifinals between Pain Gaming and Flamingo down in Brazil.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun to watch. That was just a lot of fun to watch and cast.
What's kind of funny is when I first started the channel, me and my friends were actually gonna thinking about getting into it. It's a lot more there's I don't think it's for me, but I know if I put in the work, I could do it. I don't are you the type of guy that would want to be in the spotlight? Like, let's say 5 years from now, you apply for Riot and then you become the next Captain Flowers. You really want to be the spotlight guy? You want to be the guy giving the information and shit like that?
Yep. I built myself for performance, conversation, analysis, and psychology. So learning how to be, which is where I've been trying to get my dumbass since we moved out here to Salt Lake to go down to Wise Guys for the open mics and just get used to being on stage and sucking there so I can, have the in-person part as well.
Okay. So. Yeah, because I don't know. I feel like I could do it, but then again, it's how long of a sustainable job is that as being a caster, Because no one really talks about that in esports specifically. It's just the pay for it, benefits, all those other things, But what about you, Warren? What you want to do in esports besides be a cute looking prophet?
Well, I like to analyze games, so I've been looking at tracking the pros, and I've been looking at checking through Leaguepedia for basically what's been happening between constant updating over the rosters. Because I've been looking at a lot of the champions being played and in solo queue, and how the teams are performing so far, where Latin America is barely getting out of is D1, while Khan, Showmaker are all GM. Showmaker is almost 700 challenger within a week of being there, and C9's been performing well from what I've been seeing. And I'm just tracking champion usage because in case of what's gonna come up in the meta, but of course there's always a meta within the bracket, so I'm just watching that. In esports, I wanted to be working behind the scenes as an analyst because I admire Jat a lot, so I try to watch the regions I don't watch. I don't watch Latin America, to be quiet. I watch TCL, and I actually watch some CIS because UOL is fun to watch, actually. So those are the minor regions I actually pay attention.
There's not a lot of games in that Russia region. I realized. I just glazed through it today on Wikipedia. I was like, wow, it's a very small batch of teams there.
But I think it's best of 3s, I believe, or I believe it's best.
They do best of 3s the whole season.
I believe so. It's small games, like you said, though. So I've been looking at that, and just trying to just look on Reddit, see how to approach the stuff. I've been looking at Vigar V2 because he has stuff. He has a Patreon, and you kind of need to be anywhere from master. Hey,
what's up, Kofta? How you doing, man? Eating Thai food while watching you idiots. Hey, man, I'm a League of Legends genius. What are you talking about?
from what I've been finding out, if you're you need to be at least masters to grandmaster, and then you can have of course knowledge of league.
Mhm.
So that's my interest. And with the age
Mhm.
constantly increasing and orgs realizing that veteranship and just changing habits of scrims can prolong a person's career. I could I think age is irrelevant. Starting to become irrelevant.
So I wanted to actually ask you guys that before we get into the topics is, do you guys think like, you guys watch NBA obviously or traditional sports, you know how guys are like in their 40s and like 30s or something like that, or you hear like the
He's
older
shaking his
players.
head.
I'm aware Ray Allen was like ancient and still
Okay.
breaking records on the 3 game.
LeBron James is 37, if that helps you.
Like Steve
Yeah,
Nash
yeah, yeah.
was like Steve Nash was like what 40 when he retired or something like that. So do you guys think we'll have
38.
that? What the heck? Do you guys think we'll have that in esports?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, well, even the X Games had that. Like, I tuned in randomly. I was maybe at like a bar, Smoky Bones, but there was a skater who'd been doing it since the early days of Tony Hawk, and he was 40 or over, and he took gold or whatever at the X Games. And the guy looks like a dad. He didn't have dad bod. He was fit for the job. I think it's a yes and a no. It always comes down to like. The greatest difference between like league and traditional sports is how much you can physically do, and you can physically do way more in esports than you could ever do in real sports. In real sports, like we could not have best of fives over and over and over because someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to get injured and die. But in esports, you listen to any of the old pros talk about how many best of fives they did in a day for a tournament for like just a small time LAN. They're hitting 3, 4, 5 best of fives, in a day for a tournament. So, and not to mention you can
be back.
Yeah, you could be grinding the game like 12 hours a day. Like, what's his name from the LPL's talking about on the Crackdown or on SI. It's like, yeah, you can do way more time, get way more muscular, like proficient on it. So I don't know. It kind of comes down to, burnout. It comes down to commitment. Because I know like Hiko over in Valorant, he had a great career in CSGO, and now he's got one of the top, 2, 3, top 5 teams in NA, which is kind of the major region for Valorant right now. So
this is just how I see it. It's more like it depends on how good that player is too. Like, how you can tell there's like a washed up player, and it's basically the team that's carrying them, and it's his mind that's carrying him in the game, and it's not really him doing it. That's how I see it, kind of. You have those players in like all the regions, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you could actually be ascribing that to like Xmithy, who's
Xmithy. Hi.
He's never yeah, he had better mechanics early on or whatnot, but he's brought so many teams to like championships beyond even just his time on TL. He just has that glue element to his gameplay and to how he thinks and approaches the game. Like it's his timings, it's his roaming, it's how he pads, and he's not playing no crazy, mechanical blabber shit. It just so happens that blabber also may have combined, some brain with his mechanics for it to be like, the goat of jungles for our current time.
Because there was a player like that, Looper, a long time ago. People don't remember that guy. He wasn't really the best top laner, and he was already older when he was at his peak, quote unquote. And you eventually just saw him retire, and we haven't heard from him since. And it's like I think esports could get to that point where you have like a 40-year-old player, but it all depends on if their mechanics are up to par. Because age does nothing to really do with your mechanics. It really just, it depends though. Because I know it can vary in some senses, like, reflexes, like, was it hand-eye coordination when it comes to like certain things and how you actually like, what's that word I'm looking for? Oh my God, the word is right on the tip of my freaking tongue. Like just generally how you react to something, it's more easier to react to someone when you're younger than it is when you're older, typically, depending on how you keep your body healthy. Like if the pros keep their bodies in a healthy condition, I think, yeah, we could see some esports players being like 35, 40 years old. But then again, could you imagine like Sven as a 40-year-old dude playing on like, he's put on all the NA teams and goes back to Europe?
Well, here's my thing. I think the early days of those 8 to 10 hour scrims have shown that wasn't, well, first off, they've started to, if you've noticed over the last, I believe, 3 years, I believe, players now have their own apartments because they realized the gaming house was not like some people wanted to just come in team, but they just didn't want to be around. Not because it's just like I'm cool with you at work, but then when I find how you're like you take your slippers out, you don't wash the dishes, like you're kind of dirty, you fart in all over it, you walk around, with a G string, you don't want to.
We get it. Your roommates suck. No.
Right. Yeah, so
right. He's describing a past situation, basically, guys.
And then I honestly believe that like these long ass scrims is not productive. Like I don't think you need to. I think a 4-hour scrim block is enough to. I think even some one player. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was Double Lift or somebody brought it up that like back in the day, we were doing like these long ass scrim blocks, and now it's kind of cut down because we're realizing we need to rest, we need to go over stuff, we need to and just kind of have a mental break. I mean, look at how Broxa needed, when Cold came over, he helped him because remember Cold had his issues with Origin and he had to leave. And Broxa said he had a lot of mental fatigue and was having issues with the team. So I think they're realizing that you can prolong the career if you have these facilities now that you can meet up and do things. Also, the sport, ever since Weldon kind of, you could say, paved the way for sports psychologists, because a lot of these kids are like coming in at like 18 and, they never lived on their own. They don't know what it's like. And getting all this money and having to live up because, they have expectations, they got sponsors, all this stuff. So I think that they're going in the right direction. So I could see players getting to the 30s soon. 40s is going to be a little bit later, but because I think, what was it? Somebody like Double Lift was 27. Core JJ is like 25 right now. So, and they're considered quote unquote boomers and ancient right now. But yeah, Core JJ, I just looked at his challenger, his solo queue. He's 1500 challenger right now, ranked 2.
Good God. Yeah, that's what I told people. I don't think your age would determine that, especially for League of Legends when you're sitting down and clicking. I mean,
it depends on the competitive culture of the region. So
true.
As Atar was prescribing or pointing out in China, and kind of in Korea, what those regions do because of how much they are trying to be competitively viable, and China especially has the population to just throw bodies at it. You end up not having long careers. Like the fact that the Shy has been this relevant for so long is because they had him so young, and so if the US if NA or LEC wants to aim for finding all the diamonds in the rough, putting them through the burner of 15 hours a day, millions of scrim blocks and stuff like that to find the diamonds, maximize their use, but burn them out in 2 years and not have any long-standing figures in the scene like we had with Double Lift and Bjergsen who were around for so long. You could have the conversation. Can an older person does age really affect your mechanics in the game and your ability to play the game at the top tier? And we are waiting for a litmus test to really prove that. We're waiting for a team that is of an older age, that's taken seriously, that is competitively viable, that wins. So you end up with a question of, do you want figureheads and sort of an entertainment version of your league, or are you actually going to try to somehow match a country that is 3x or more the size of yours and the pool that you have to pull from for talent? So I mean, I'll be interested to see if it happens. Like, I'll be okay. I'd be pretty cool, in 5 years. Like, oh, I can get into a league team, make 50K, and go from there. Cool, man. I'd do that. 50K to play support on Academy Factor.
I mean, no, you guys pretty much took all the words out of my mouth. I mean, those are pretty much the exact same things that I was thinking. It just depends because the biggest thing I think a lot of people need to understand with League is it's a mental game too, which will lead into my first topic actually, which is it being a mental game. And like some players get so, I wouldn't say they're mentally fragile. It's not the right word to use. I would say not winning does put a damper on a super competitive person's mindset. You know what I mean? Like if you're super competitive at something and you never win anything, isn't that kind of frustrating?
Like upset?
Well, we're talking about just a moment. Alfari, Alfari's been quote unquote the best Western top laner, along with people like Wonder, Licorice at one point, and he's not won anything. Whippo, yeah.
I think Alfari suffered where he I mean, I think he talked about in Travis Stafford that he took a pay cut because he felt confident in the Origin team.
It kind of sucks though, because that Origin team though, I think it really could have won LEC, because if people forget this, if G2 didn't have that super team, Origin did beat Fnatic before they got to that final though. There could have been a world where Origin could have won, you know? But it's and that's how the game works, man. It's luck coupled with skill, you know, because people say there's no luck in the game. Yeah, there's some luck here. If a team is 10,000 gold ahead and they don't win that game, and that team comes back from a 10,000 gold deficit, that's luck. I don't care what no one says. That's some pure luck right there.
I just call that a friendly game of catch and release. That's just hey, Dad. Thanks.
Oh,
thanks. Like the only time I've ever seen a 10K gold lead properly like taken back and not from like the winning team throwing it was when SKT was like 10K down like at Worlds or something.
Oh, EDG, yeah.
Or EDG, yeah. They just find the Orianna, they just take out the AP carry like immediately, and that's just what begins their pullback. It's the only time I've ever seen a 10K lead actually pulled back as opposed to just thrown like we got to see many times in the LCS this year.
Because like people argue that there's no luck in the game, don't actually understand the game. Like if I'm winning and I'm in such an advantageous position, the only way you are able to win is if I massively fuck up. I'll give you guys an example. Game 2, TSM versus Team Liquid, the LCS 2021 midseason showdown. The Game 2, TSM are literally at their top inhibitor tower, destroying them and overreach and lose. That's luck. TL should not be in a position to win that game. That's luck. There's no other way to describe that. Yeah. TSM actually just took their heads and slit them off and just threw them at Team Liquid. Like, you know, just an example, guys, as being there. But actually, first topic is upset hints at leaving Fnatic. So people don't understand what I meant when I made that video is the way that guy was talking in that video that he even put out himself. He just kind of wants to get paid more money. And he even said, you know, every year it's looking more attractive to play in North America. So I said in that video, man, I'm calling it. I think Upset leaves EU this year if he doesn't win anything. What's the point of staying if you're not going to win anything? Might as well come to an easier region, quote unquote, and play on a team that, you know, could be a little bit more easy for you to win a title. I mean, to be fair, in the top teams, Cloud9, TSM, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves. I mean, 100 Thieves and TL could upgrade their EG. EG too. They'll pay a lot of money for the guy. You know, EG, 100 Thieves, and TL. They'll have, I mean, upsets would be, in my own personal opinion, would be a pretty good upgrade to either FBI, tactical, or definitely, especially on EG. If upset was on EG, that's a pretty strong roster there. But, you know, that's just to be fair, Lost too. If Lost doesn't perform very well, there's a good chance they replace him with that guy. But that depends on Power of Evil getting a green card. So, you know, that's kind of a up in the air situation. But do you guys think Upset could, you know, possibly leave EU this year if he doesn't win anything? Because you would think joining Fnatic would get you that win, like that title you like so crave so much. You don't think he's leaving, dude?
No. Fnatic's reputation is falling apart. Fnatic's budget does not permit them the ability to even like they don't even have the ability to really try to buy like a championship roster anymore. Like going forward, it's G2 versus Mad Lions versus Rogue, and that's basically going to be the future of the LEC.
Maybe MSF if they could get their stuff together.
Yeah, I waited too long for that. I waited way too long for that.
But
I'm still an MS. I'm sort of
this is where Upset finding somewhere else to go, Bwipo finding somewhere else to go, Selfmade finding somewhere else to go is not surprising. Bwipo and Selfmade don't like playing with each other. The only person I'd see Bwipo going with is Hylissang, but that's just because they're buddies and they have a decent synergy, but that synergy is not through the whole game like a bot lane would be. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bwipo actually starts putting himself towards mid lane. And so, yeah, Upset just got coming to speaking English pretty well, coming over to NA to take an ADC role and get a lot of money, considering his ability to find a championship winning roster is really fucking hard at this point. Like who does he upgrade? Hans Sama is at his level or better on given the day for Rogue. Karzi has been quite solid, though dumpstered by Perks on Twitter recently.
And he got bot gapped by Hans Sama
Yeah. And then you have Reckless, like the face of Europe next to Perks, and like Caps. Like, how are you going to get on a championship roster? It's half the reason like Alfari came over to Team Liquid. He picked the best team in the NA and got bank for it and got top 2. Like, and that series could have gone TL's way in another timeline, you know?
If Santorin wasn't, sick, I think it's...
Yeah. If Santorin hadn't been sick, that would have been that could have changed everything. So yeah, so Alfari has probably been one of the best transplant that turned it out well, because we both know Fabivin on Clutch was its own.
Oh, Perks did well too.
Oh yeah. Must I state obvious?
Well, okay.
So Warren's supposed to be our prophet, and he wants us to bow to him now or some shit.
Well, I think what it is that EU pride nonsense is going down the hill. Like there's a time where like, oh, EU pride, I'm all G2, and we're gonna make it. And now you see, and even Perks, I think a while ago was like, no, I'll stay in EU forever. Yeah. To a couple of years later, he's now in NA.
I mean, $11 million. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, when the money
between buyout and whatever his agent negotiated for him to make.
And also, let's be honest. Like, LCS is starting to this. I wouldn't say it was competitive. I would say that Team Stars kind of stepped up, because even like Dig kind of sort of performed. So teams are sort of like raising the bar.
Thank you, Ashley.
A little bit. Hey Ashley, so it's okay. It's like, it's not that EU's bad. It's just like we talked about in the other stream, where I feel like Fnatic, and if they want to have money, they have to get rid of their academy team. Like because remember, I think you mentioned that they're getting rid of academy teams. Like, you don't have
to get rid of the requirement for major teams to have academy teams.
That saves them money if they get rid of their. I think they should.
Let's be all honest here. Does EU really need academy teams? Let's be honest here. If the EU Master scene is so great, just pick players out of that. Let's be honest here. Why do they need academy teams for? If ERLs were this good at producing talent, just pick players out of that. That's why it's there.
I imagine there could be an argument of having a transition between EURLs and then what's up, Kafta? Welcome to the game.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, man? He was hanging out with his wife, guys. He chose his wife over us.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I haven't seen her, but I imagine she's a better person than me.
She's pretty cute. She's still eating.
Right. I feel she carries. That's how this goes.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the only argument you can really run for at least the major orgs to run academies is to help transition these regional players and these amateur teams more or less into the professional scene. But like, Europe's actually had a good showing for having rookies come in and become top 4 talent and top 4 teams, regardless of how Mad Lions flopped at Worlds. Like, that's a full rookie roster. That's a full rookie roster. We in NA have yet to have a full rookie roster that's worth respecting. And I loved and was rooting for Golden Guardians like all split.
Yeah, because even the Cloud9 roster that got top 4 at Worlds in 2018, that had only 3 rookies. So he still had Jensen and Sven Skaren, veterans that were already proven talent. Also, the reason why I think Upset could be leaving Fnatic at the end of this year is because he also mentioned, the money thing. He basically mentioned where he's not getting paid enough as he could have if he's playing in NA, if you're tryharding this hard. And to be fair, let's be honest here, if he's tryharding this hard and making little money, let's be fair, he could just get a better offer over here, play the same amount and get paid more money and have a potential at winning a title. So what's the point of staying out Fnatic though? You're getting paid less money. Fnatic's not the highest contending org right now. And you're basically what are you going to be doing? Going to Worlds? I mean, going to Worlds might make him stay because he's never been to Worlds before. It's crazy how we could have traditional sports and esports where you have so many good players, right? And they never win anything. That he's actually, in my perspective, he's a really good ADC player. And it just sucks he hasn't won anything. Yeah,
I think the difference for why top talent sometimes doesn't come to NA versus does is literally roster strength at NA in the NA teams. Like Perks 2 years ago would never have come because the orgs never had a decent team to put around him.
True.
Like unless he was replacing Jensen on Team Liquid, there was no roster that he could join that would do really well at Worlds. So that's why he didn't come.
Same with Caps. Caps admitted it too. Yeah.
So it's like I could absolutely see Upset coming to TSM.
My God, that would make them so strong.
No, it can't. That can't happen because of the fallout they had. Remember with Lena?
I don't know.
Bold of you to assume Reggie cares about PR.
Yeah,
I know. Well, remember when they tried to go for Upset and it was bad PR, and I don't see. I mean, trust me, I would love Upset. I'm not being silly and saying I wouldn't.
Yeah,
Upset.
I think it would be the perfect fit for the team.
He'd rather have
stylistically, they want to play through bot. That team wants to play through bot with Sword Art on that team, but they just don't have an ADC that can play around. So Upset would be really good, but I don't know what the most recent TSM drama is. It's too.
This was during the double if when he
came.
Really?
I think it would still go, dude. Let's be honest.
But I think that died down.
You know how much clout Upset would get if he joined TSM? Oh my god! Like, dude, let's be honest here. If they give him enough money, and he leaves Europe to join potentially still a pretty popular organization, I think he'd still do it.
I think that's the best team he could join out of EU or NA if Fnatic doesn't work. Like Fnatic, I still think Fnatic is a better roster.
Well, I'm gonna say what Upset revealed. It reveals that EU is not making as much. Like, we all know NA made money, but it seems like these players are taking pay cuts, and they're like, "Well, fuck it, like let's go to NA. You have an easier chance to come to Worlds. That's a given, right?"
Absolutely. And I made this comment while I was listening to you guys. Like, say what you will about NA orgs failing to put together teams and whatever it might be, our scene is so mature at this point that we would never pull something like what Origin did, which is asking players to take a pay cut after they're already on the team. They've been promised a contract.
And
like, there's so many shitty things about that, by the way.
I can tell you listen to that Reflections with Alfari video.
I did. And I did not know about half that stuff. I didn't know about half that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know half of it either. But once Alfari replies with plausible, I died. I pulled over my work van and cried laughing because
it's actually illegal, by the way. That's actually illegal.
But to be fair, EO, you watch Thorn's content. Remember, he did kind of,
No, it was implied, and he knew about it.
It was implied,
He was mentioning it all over the place, basically. He's like, I heard from a person or whatnot. So, like, all the crazy shit that's where Australis is one of the few public companies in at least Western esports that I know about. Mm-hmm. Like, none of the NA orgs are actual public companies that you could like go buy the parent company and then you would own, parts of TL or TSM. Australis, you could go buy probably through like through a broker or something to get like to the EU stock market. You could buy and own like stock in Australis, and that's where they end up having a focus on shareholders as opposed to on any other value.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So as you guys know, I don't want to take anything out of context, which is the reason why I brought the topic up. So basically, here was his quote that I did a video on yesterday. If you want the shorter version, this is his words, not mine. If I would have gone to if I would have gone to NA in any offseason, I could have probably earned at least 3 times the amount that EU orgs pay. Upset said, I'm not saying I'm not happy with what I'm getting in Europe. Okay, whatever. But it is a very huge difference. And at some point, you might just start to think, what am I trying to do? Is this really worth it? Trying to win every time and facing so much frustration, and in the end, not even going to Worlds. So I think if he goes to Worlds at the end of this year, potentially Fnatic more or less will always make Worlds. I think that'll save him. Potentially, this is potentially. I'm grasping at straws here.
I hope he makes it to Worlds. I really hope he makes it to Worlds. I think that
I just don't see them making it to Worlds with
they are top 5 at
hot take right now. EO's saying
I freaking called it on the friggin' Mad So
I agree. I mean, objectively, skill-wise, right now, Rogue, Mad Lions, G2, and maybe even Schalke are better. So it's like, I agree. I think that they will beat Schalke in the summer, personally speaking, but I don't know how they get past Rogue or Mad Lions, unless one of those teams falls off really hard.
And are we betting that G2 doesn't improve? I mean, that's a hard stretch in of itself.
G2's going to make Worlds. Come on.
G2's gonna make Worlds.
If G2 doesn't make Worlds, that's gonna be funny, and I'd be so
thank
happy.
you, Warren. I'm not getting on that show with this dude. Oh my god,
that would be the biggest disappointment in like Western history. The thing is that I wish I actually had watched the Thorin video or whatnot, but I've heard the summarizing that he gave for it is that he would have never gotten rid of perks before getting rid of caps.
Me too. I totally agree with that.
And I was like, because Yanko's pointed it out, and that's where Wonder is having like I'm uninstalling WoW and stuff. And if you know who Reckless is, just from I have nothing but hearsay. I don't have coffee with the guy. Reckless is not a straight up leader. He is a consistent player.
He admitted himself too, you know.
Yeah. He's a very good reflective person. Like I'm sad he's never had like a reflections or a long form interview with Thorin.
No, Ryan. No, don't give Warren credit here. We'll give Warren credit.
I'll give Warren all the credit he wants. Like he predicted something that I predicted wrong, and I just sat there with egg on my face, and then I fried it with bacon. Like, I'll eat that.
Well, so the caps and perks thing, I don't think there was a wrong decision personally. But to be fair, if you wanted a leader, if he wanted a leader, perks was the right choice. If you wanted a more mechanical prowess player, you keep caps. To be fair, it's all depending on what you personally want.
Oh, I can tell you exactly what G2 is now. G2 is a classic super roster that will flop based on the expectations that are put forward. It was expected that they win in spring. It is expected going forward that they not only win, but they go to Worlds and they, you know, near top 4.
Yeah.
You know, that is an expectation on this roster. The problem is that, and I have yet to have any context for like Edward Gaming super teams or LCK super teams over the past, 5+ years. But all you have right now is a super team of super talented people. On paper, it looks like it's going to destroy. But the thing that made G2 monstrous was the fact that there was a very clear leader on the team. And that was Perks.
No, I will say, however, that was not always the case, right? There were many iterations of G2 that were really successful. That
Perks is always there.
Leader. Yeah, but Perks wasn't the leader under Sweat Mithy era.
He had his jungler who was probably who was teaching him a lot and stuff like that.
Even Trick,
which is why I find it.
Trick taught him a lot too when they first started playing together.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just thought that I don't know. Maybe I am being too underrated about their losses, but I genuinely thought that they misread the meta.
They over-indexed on having a support carry for their bot lane out of Reckless because he's I give him more credit than Doublelift that he can pay more things that aren't ranged AD carries.
Right.
But
and Karma top.
Karma is, I mean, Karma feels good to play with, but I think
another thing that happened was the talent. Oh, sorry. Do you have one?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm saying nothing important right now.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're good.
I think the problem is that we are seeing that before G2 just beat people off of pure talent. Now we got humanoid solo killing caps. You couldn't say that before, right? You would be like, that's you're an idiot. You need to go. You're boosted or something silly, something coming out of your mouth. Now it's I could see humanoid doing that. You know what I mean? I could see I could see Abadage doing that. I could see Broken Bay solo killing Wonder. Like this whole talent. This whole mechanical talent. Like the teams sort of level up. Like when teams like SK can play at least 25 minutes and keep up with G2, but then G2 knows how to win. It starts making you wonder. Well, are they stagnating or what's going on? Besides that, because like SK is not SK is a budget team if you look at.
But Treats is insane. He played out of his mind this play. Treats played better than Mickey X, Hillsang, Limit, and Kaiser. All 4 of them. He was on SK Gaming. He was on SK Gaming. He played better than 4 other people.
Yeah, he had 3 rookies too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Genax was the only
one.
By
TSM. It was girl by TSM and Doublelift to do it, man.
Like you could, if you put SK against like last year's Mad Lions, that's what they remind me of. Is that you have a bunch of rookies and they got into playoffs. They got out in the first round, but the only reason they don't go farther is because Mad Lions and Rogue are already there, and G2 and Fnatic or whatnot. But yeah, so I just see SK as just another great example of here's a rookie roster. They go between overperforming, but also just showing like, hey, we are here to take your jobs. You were wanting to fight for your job, here, homie.
All right, and yeah, that's pretty much covers it. So, what do you guys think the fate of Upset is? Just generally, last part.
He's gone after Summer Split.
Fnatic is dead in the water. No one wants to go there. Fnatic's gonna have to Fnatic's gonna have a full rook. If they keep a veteran at this point, it only sounds like Hillsang is staying, because Selfmade and Bwipo are not renewing their contracts. Like they're both done with the org. It's not even like
EG, please make it happen.
Right.
Niski on 100 Thieves. To be fair, if 100 Thieves got Niski, that wouldn't have been that bad. But Abadage, good enough by me.
We'll see.
Right.
We will see.
And we have this is an interesting piece of news because this might be a reflective thing of what happened in 2020. So this is not exactly breaking, but Solo did join FlyQuest at some point, remember, and he did take the spot on the main roster. So now we're looking at Solo joining Golden Gardens Academy team. If Niles starts underperforming yet again, could they put in Solo in the main roster coming up in the LCS 2021 summer split coming up after MSI 2021? You guys think so or no? Just not the same thing? Reading too much into it?
Kafta, go.
I love it. I think that this is exactly what you need. I like a team that has both a veteran that has proven that he can perform, along with a rookie that they're trying to test out. I think one of the biggest issues for Golden Guardians was that they had elements of their team that were actually performing well, but it didn't matter because of how poorly one or two lanes would do in a game. And if Niles starts underperforming and he can't play into a meta, having a veteran like Solo underneath makes a lot of sense. It's the same reason why, although I didn't like the idea behind having Darshan as your backup, Cloud9 is correct in having a veteran backup to Fudge so that there is some level of training and solo queue practice, or sorry, not solo queue, solo lane practice amongst your top laner. And it's especially important in the top lane. So I love this pickup.
Yeah. Go ahead, Warren.
Solo is the journeyman. He's just a better. This is gonna sound funny. He's a better Kikis, because Kikis was like one of those guys that team would pick up all the time, and he would play like if you look up Kikis, he's been on like I don't know 20 dozens of teams. I think this will make Niles play better because he knows that someone can easily replace him, and just like how I think the same thing was lingering behind Huni, because he knew Haunter could replace him if he was playing like dog shit. So this is good because now it's like there's someone in the background ready to come back, ready to get show that he's still got it. And like look at even Solo at Worlds. Like he did bad in the beginning, and then FlyQuest ended up going 3-3. They didn't make it out the group, but considering that was legitimately to me what I thought was the group of death, they did pretty. He still performed at I wouldn't say mediocre, average. So this is a good pickup, and I hope he can pass things on to Niles, because oftentimes, like for instance, between Soaz and Whipple, and this is an example, he didn't want to share some of the things that he learned over the years when you're kind of reaching that sort of passing the torch thing. And I hope he does that, because that's being humble, and that's also showing that you want people to get better if you know things that they don't know.
Yeah. Based on what I can remember from how Aniro runs his team from that interview I had with him, Niles is a very motivated player, but Niles is also way behind the education curve. And so unless things have changed on that team, which I doubt, that team was very motivated. They sounded like they were all very good, hardworking, even Stixay, who's been around for a while now. I think Solo does, and I think Solo is the kind of guy that would be competitive and would help drive Niles to go even further. Because unless things have changed inside management and Niro's getting pushed to make a hard decision, the only way any of his players are going to get fired by him or get replaced by an academy player, according to how Niro runs his team, is based on them not trying legitimately hard. And I think he's going to probably up his expectations for actual results going into summer. So this may be like it may be a posturing of just like, okay, we need results. It's time. We had a whole split to get as many of the basics down and to get as much of the learning in as possible. And frankly, you need to be able within a half year, get your shit together and be able to learn how to adjust to the constant 2-week transitions of metas, gameplay, champion rotations, and be consistent. Because that's been the history for Solo, is that he's either been consistent or the one player trying to overreach back, like on Echo Fox or something like that. Yeah. On GP, just trying to solo carry that game.
Or Aatrox.
He was on the college too.
Yeah.
The other pretty well.
The other aspect of go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other aspect of Solo that I like is that he's a weak side player. He's pretty defined as a weak side player, and it makes sense for this team, particularly if they're trying to index on Iconic and trying to play through their mid jungle synergy, which is what I think that they're going to try to do next split. It makes a lot of sense to have someone like Solo rather than Niles in your top lane. I'm not saying that Niles will get replaced, but if that is the backup plan that they're going for based on the meta, it makes a lot of sense. They're covering their bases, I think, and they became a lot more meta resilient with this roster.
If Niles proves like he can't play weak side, then Solo's in, basically.
Or team starts, I don't know, 0-6. They're like, okay, we got to make a change. We need a better presence.
They're a budget team, and they said that. So I hope that the NBA can start, because remember, they're funded by the Warriors, and like when the Warriors are having packed out stadiums, they can get these bigger name budgets because I'm watching all these players. So I hope that once by I would say next year March that they can games are starting to get full and they could get back the money because they got a lot of money for the players, and I hope that they can start maybe getting one import and then build from there. I don't want to use imports. Trust me, I don't want to use imports. But you got to do what you got to do to attract people to your team too.
Absolutely, I think an arrow with a budget is a scary, scary prospect for any league. Like you saw what he could do with the 100 Thieves roster, basically without Someday, and even before that, Inero was on certain teams that didn't look great, and then suddenly put together a team that did way better than the results showed. And I'm looking forward to see what he can do once he gets, financial control back. But even seeing what he was able to do with this roster, despite having random lanes falling insanely far behind, there was a lot of elements to it that I liked. And even though they got terrible placings in the standings, I never flamed them as much as I flamed CLG. Like, there's a reason for that, Like, you can see the developmental approach that was taken here. And I think they found some gold nuggets, and it's good to see that, they're taking a controlled approach going into summer. So I'd like to see what they can do.
And with that pretty much concludes that. And MSI 2021 kicks off this week, guys. It's here. We finally have an international tournament. And I pose a question to you, since the first game is an absolute banger. Can Cloud9 upset Damwon? Or better yet, can Perks get his revenge against Damwon from knocking him out last year?
Yes.
You know my answer. You know my answer. We predicted it last
I think Damwon gets it this time, but C9 get it the second time around.
And I think it's the other way around. I think that since last week, I've really looked into the pro players and what they're playing, and this is a really good meta for C9. True. This is an amazing meta for C9, based on how jungle interaction is seemed to be going. I think that AD, mid laners, and top laners are going to be really high priority in MSI. I'm thinking like Set, Lucian, Lee Sin. All of these.
Lane I'm going to disagree a little bit on.
What? What do you mean? Lee Sin, I'm talking about solo lane, by the way.
I'm talking. I don't. Okay, because I'm. Go ahead, because I think top. I don't see. I see Set support actually, but go finish off your.
Set either solo lane, just to set up ganks. But what I was trying to get to was basically mid lane and top lane having AD champions is going to be really important because of how OP the AP junglers are on this patch. Everyone knows Morgana is broken. Fewer people, but most pros know that Rumble is broken. There's a lot of Diana. I think I'm interested to see how they make it work, because you have to really build around her and play around her. So she's not as OP as she's not as plug and play as the other two.
No. Diana has the old Xin Zhao issue.
And Vladimir.
So I wanted to ask you guys. So for this tournament, the AD carries seem pretty much at their, I wouldn't say lowest peak, but you have for at least the top major regions, right? Gala, Ghost, Sven, and Karzi. I
think that
is Sven the best? Because
Gala for sure. I think is. Wait.
I'm gonna say Ming makes Gala good.
Ming is really good.
Ming is really good.
Yeah, Ming is always so underrated. Ming is always been one of the best things about RNG, but it's always been Xiaohu and Uzi in the past. But looking at just the ADCs right now, outside of Gala or not, or just the 4 we have, like I think the same thing poses with Damwon as well.
Well, Damwon just has the best. I think Damwon definitely has the best ADC. I thought besides Damwon, what are we talking about? And with regards to that, I think that Gala is a lot more of a playmaking ADC.
And Sven?
And Sven's a much more consistent ADC. I think they have a very different play style.
So is Carzzy the weakest at that point? Like Carzzy would be the weakest though.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, by default. I mean, it depends.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
like, who would I want Kog'Maw on? I want Kog'Maw on Sven. Who do I want Tristana on? I want Tristana on Gala. You know what I mean?
No, I want it on Perks. What are you talking about?
That's fine too. I don't disagree with that at all. Right. Or even the top laners. That's top laners. Xiaohu, Khan, Fudge, and who is it? Armut? I mean, these tops and ADCs are kind of whack in this tournament. To be fair, it's anybody's game between top and ADC. Because like Khan, I think Khan is really good. But the issue here with Khan is he's like a worse version of Naguri, but not in the sense of like mechanic wise. He doesn't really play tanks very well. He's pretty much just like, I'm all forward and that's it. That's his play style.
Guess what, MSK? Naguri is not coming to this tournament. Thank God for all of us in the West.
But Armut's no slouch either. Armut's been carrying a lot of games for Mad Lions for weeks at this point, literal weeks. Yeah. Fudge has been better at being a team player, but he made a lot of openings in the finals on Malphite and Gnar. And then you also have Xiaohu. Xiaohu got kind of dumpstered in the finals, but Xiaohu was also really useful in other things.
No. What are you talking about?
He got dumpstered on Jace. What are you talking about?
No, he didn't. What are you talking about?
In the Aurelia matchup, he got destroyed. He got actually
compared to Naguri in a 1v1 lane, he did get destroyed. But overall, that is true.
But overall, Xiaohu has been playing really well, though. So it's like it's anybody's game between top and ADC, though. Like they all have their unique strengths and weaknesses. So
I wanted to say that I think the contested picks. I know you said Seth, but Vladimir is actually. I think Silas is becoming. I've been watching so much of, and it's like if they're not playing Silas, they're playing either Syndra or Lucian in the mid lane. From what I've been watching the pro, and it seems like Silas got that power creep, and people are now realizing late game that guy hurts. We saw what Jensen did to TSM, which I was, I cried.
Because I just watched this, so all my knowledge right now is from the Flamingo Pain Gaming semifinals match that happened like weeks ago now. But Pain Gaming's mid laner, let me remember his name, Tenones. It reminds you of Perks in the finals on his Silas, just starting the fight, going low, and ending the fight at full health. And just running train on a team and they banned that Silas. Flamingo banned that Silas for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I think that I think we're literally about to see a completely different meta at MSI. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but
is it still heavy? Are they still heavy? They're still heavy farm junglers basically.
Yes,
they're just AP though.
Everyone still is full clearing, but now it's like I don't know if you realize Rumble jungle is faster clear time than Olaf. Like it's that broken right now.
Because the damage to the minions that they increased, right?
No, it's his W. They gave him random attack speed because they thought that would help him battle top lane, and no, it just helps him overheat. And once he overheats, he just whacks every camp and just clears it extremely fast. So the issue now is that not only is he a power form jungler, but he creates such a weird dynamic because he's a team fight machine, like his ult can completely change a team fight. So now if you play things that set him up in the mid lane, like Set, that's what, AD and also AP jungle, or someone like Kiana, although Kiana's really bad as a solo player, but the Kiana Rumble combo is still there.
Yeah. TL had to learn some lessons back then.
Yeah, exactly, and things like least even with the kick can do a lot. There's a lot of synergy with him, and I expect him to be permabanned in MSI. Personally speaking, like I don't know if Morgana's more.
He's this year's Pantheon, basically. Like
I don't. That's what I see. Like I don't know if it's
too.
That's just how I feel about it. Playing Mundo jungle, like I thought Mundo had the fastest clear, and he matches it. It makes no sense to me. So from what I'm seeing in the jungle, he should be broken. I don't see what he does poorly in the first 20 minutes of the game. So that's my prediction. And the second thing is Lulu is back, like
I ban that champion
absolutely
every
back.
game.
And now with Lulu being enabled, there's so many must bans that I think Lulu's going to get through a lot of these games. And when Lulu's there, a lot of ADCs get opened.
I just want to ask you guys.
Jinx.
I want to ask you also, since you're a jungle main, do you think we'll be seeing Lee Sin make a return or Elise?
Not jungle. Lee Sin will be there in the lanes. Because again, I don't know what Riot's doing, but when you buff a Q like they did, you don't put Lee Sin in the jungle because he still needs to full clear, right? Too. Yeah, you put him in the solo lanes because he's getting more a trade pattern. Plus, they were trying to buff his E so that he could clear faster. But again, I don't play Lee Sin too much. But basically, from what I've seen, the second E is not for clearing waves. It's mostly for poke damage. Like that's like what people have been doing in lanes. They just use E to spam and get wave control.
What about champions like Elise though? Like Elise should be an ideal pick for players like Labber and Canyon.
You need to full clear. You have to still full clear. That's still a thing.
Lilia and Diana are just better.
Wow. Damn.
Even Gragas is better because Gragas can play. Can actually be.
So we won't be seeing like a Sejuani return, a Gragas jungle.
No tanks and no heavy gank junglers. The only heavy gank jungler you could really put in is Diana, but she's a weird champion. It's hard.
I would keep her mid, honestly.
I don't know. It's a weird.
Diana requires so many resources and such coordination on even just an intuitive level. That if we see Diana, it's gonna be a cheese pick, and it's not gonna work.
It's gonna have to be with the Lucian mid. It's gonna have to be with the Lucian mid and some kind of support that can enable her, like a Lulu. Yeah, that's the only shot that I see a Diana being played, and even then you need to tunnel on a tank top. There's a lot you need to do to make that pick work.
What about Kindred? Kindred was pretty good for a little bit, but she kind of fell out of the meta though.
You might see Tarek. I love
me some Tarek. I love me some Tarek, dude.
You might see Tarek.
Bot?
Interesting.
Tarek support, right?
Tarek support. Yeah.
Okay, I was getting scared.
Yeah, no. I see. The supports are weird with the W change to set and
why Tarek?
Well, one, in case of Kindred. Two, like if the comps are mostly melee, like Lee Sin, like you're negating a lot of stuff as well too. So like,
Kiting. Yeah.
And like his ult is just annoying. like let's be honest. And with like a lot of engaged supports too, I could see Tarek making a return. So that's just my theory. I think Set is, because I was watching Core JJ. Holy shit, his Halo Blade set with Hex Flash is. I tried it myself, and I'm in silver. Holy moly! I literally carried the game. That was just it's broken. And now put that in a challenge. It's broken. It's literally broken. I really see Set coming back. I think I saw Showmaker playing Set in the mid. I would not be surprised to see a more Set. He's with what they gave them. And remember, before we saw Set, just like we saw Aatrox.
I think mid or top. Honestly, I really think mid or top. I don't think that you want to put Set in a bot lane with a Kog'Maw Lulu. That is not going to work out long term.
It could be a flex. I think what would happen with Set is that he could be a flex pick into bot for support reasons, for a non-hyper carry. It's just that he provides so much damage value, getting resources and getting gold, that I think putting him into a solo lane is going to be where you maximize the value you can get out of him, unless you have a really good, a better replace.
He'll come back.
Yeah.
Or you're surprising them somehow, like, oh, counter pick mid or top lane. Yeah, no, that's just not. That just doesn't feel like the play, homie. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. And if any, I want to see this because I'm a Mundo main. But if any team falls for the trap of actually picking an AP jungler and an AP mid laner, please lock in the Mundo top. He's actually really good top lane now. So I'd love to see it.
So, is there a world we could see NA versus EU finals like we did back in 2019?
No. Maybe. Depends how. If the thing is, we never know if, quote unquote. Okay, so I'm just saying maybe. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. Why I say maybe is if teams pull off a cheese and get like a surprising win on Damwon, which I don't believe is gonna happen. But you know that changes the group, right? When you get one win from a team that was supposed to just dominate the group, right? It just changes the whole format. So if that happens, we could see something like that. But looking at Mad Lions group, I believe, in my opinion, I think their group is probably one of the most hardest. I really honestly believe that. Some can debate it, but that's for another discussion. I just think it depends upon if these. Sorry about my phone. That depends on if the minor regions can pull off wins against the major regions. That's what's going to determine how these groups, how like a Mad and a NA can get through to have that happen.
So for me, when it comes to Damwon, out of the games I have able to watch them, they don't really look like they've slowed down at all. You know?
No, I think Damwon is Z tier. They're like above S tier at this point, and I don't think that there's any team that can contest them in a best of series. I think that since the last time I watched LPL finals, my opinion on C9's difference between C9 and the LPL representative RNG has been closing, and more so. I think that there is becoming they're definitely really good. But I think this meta is starting to suit C9 more and more and more the more I see pro play. And I don't think that they're going to be able to match them in the top lane. I don't think that they're going to be able to match them skill-wise in the support role. I just personally think that there is a team gap that can happen if C9 gets an early game lead. And I see a real possibility that C9 could get early game leads with Blabber against them. So we will see. I think that's their only win con is Blabber early game diffing RNG. But I'm starting to believe because of the meta.
So my thing is, I think Cloud9 could at some point beat RNG. Last time they faced RNG back in 2018, they did manage to beat them a couple of times in the group stage. I don't think RNG is their issue. I think their issue is, like, there's such a massive difference between Con and Fudge. Like, I'm not trying to rag on the dude, but, like, if you've actually watched the LCK against Con, like, I mean,
I'm not saying they'll beat Damwon.
If they both play weak side, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, true.
I don't see that happening, though.
Con doesn't even know what weak side is.
Does Con play tanks?
He's only done tanks. Like Wolf was on for actually discussing this whole thing, and Khan's taken a very supportive backseat on Damwon Gaming this year. He's not the monstrous Khan that he is historically. He's just changed the play style.
But he's not good at that play style. He's not good at that play style.
Yeah,
I think
we're not discussing that part. This is where it's at. He is playing weak side for the sake of the team. Now, is this team viable? And we'd like to think it could because it's Z tier. Is this team viable in playing around Khan? And they have not done it all year. They've not done an ugly play. And so it's one of those where you sit there, it's like, we want to be like, oh, Fudge is going to get gapped. It's like, well, if they both play weak side and he does get gapped, that is huge on Fudge's part. But if they're both weak side and they both hold even, then we're just waiting for team fights.
No, what C9's going to do, I believe.
Yeah, C9's going to gamble. C9's going to gamble on Fudge for this.
Because
exactly.
The other top laners we didn't talk about, because NA, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen an Aurelia pick outside of like a lock-in tournament. I barely seen Jace. You know,
that Pony. which is surprising. Like
we're gonna see. I honestly think we're gonna see Fudge definitely play for Jungle Gang's top side against Damwon. They're gonna hope for the best there. Here's the thing: besides that first game, when I think that Damwon's still gonna be a little rusty, I don't think C9 has a shot of winning any other game against Damwon. It's not gonna matter if they go 3-0 top lane. That's how big of a difference I see in both their mid and bot lane. Canyon is the one jungler in this tournament, which I am saying is 100% better than Blabber. He is. He just is.
Well, RNG's jungler, I forgot his name. Wei, is that his name? Wei?
I think Blabber's better. I think he's the second best jungler in this tournament.
Who's the other guy for Mad Lions? I forgot his name. Sorry.
Aloya?
Yeah. Okay. Don't. He's good.
Elioy has nerves of steel. Like he reminds me when they would talk about Sven back when he was over in EU, where Sven is like a rookie in a finals or in playoffs, no emotional adjustment, no change, no nerves. It's like, no, I'm here to win.
Also,
like, that's Elioy.
I think it's the mid lane too. Showmaker versus Perks. I mean, if Caps can't beat Showmaker and that's the best Western mid laner, how's Perks gonna beat the dude?
Perks is a more risky.
He's not gonna win lane.
Cadro brought up this point. Perks is the type of guy he's gonna make, which is what we talked about earlier, why G2 should have kept him. He's gonna make the 2080 play more times than often because he feels that he can win. And you want that in a player. So if he knows he can't beat Showmaker, he's going to try to do whatever he can on the map to win the game.
Yeah.
You need that. You need that type of player.
Yeah. And I have no doubt that he has the ability to pull a rabbit out of his hat in the mid game and any game like that magic bubble, Zoe bubble. The issue is that I don't think that they can get an early game lead substantial enough to overcome Dan1's team fighting ability. Like even if Perks makes the play, I don't think that the rest of the players.
We're also factoring in, like, because the teams in NA give them those opportunities to do these things. Like, this is a team that literally most likely, they stomped LCK. Like, they lost very few games in best of threes. They stopped the playoffs. It really wasn't close, though. And the argument people will give you is, well, I mean, on any given day, on any given day, they can win. But to be fair, these guys are legitimately better, though. So realistically, they shouldn't be winning, though. That's how I generally see things, you know? But to be fair, Cloud9 do have strengths. They can play through Blabber, Perks, mid jungle synergy. We know Blabber is going to go up to top and gank for Fudge. We know that he's going top lane, fucking level 3 and ganking Khan. He's going to do that. But that leaves the underrated part of the team, which is the bot lane. Sven and Vulcan versus Ghost and Beryl. Demo don't really play through the bot lane, so there's a good chance you could maybe make an advantage there. Blabber has been diving bot a lot.
I think it's going to depend on how the supports roam.
Yeah, it depends on the support roaming meta, if that's still as aggressive as it was. Because if you're going to have enchanters, supports trying to run around and make plays, it's not as impactful as unless you like really overreach for it in a way. Like I just don't, and that's where it's a really good question. Like I have no recollection of Vulcan's enchanter prowess. Like his bard was bonkers. Actually,
are you sleeping on his Yuumi? His Ezreal Yuumi combo is on.
Oh no!
Don't remind me of the. I hated that. I remember that, and I hated that.
Wait, are we gonna get Soraka's and Janna's at this tournament based on this?
I literally just think it's
I don't think you have enough people going to the Church of LS to even. I just don't think I'm going to church on that one.
Hey, what if Fudge plays for Nectin, dude? Oh no!
The other thing to keep in mind, and this is actually where we go back to the last MSI that happened 2 years ago, is that these Asian teams, perhaps because of their cultural pressures, they'll go to these international tournaments and massively underperform. And so that's where you could almost contend that, like, that's the reason that TL beat IG, is that IG just kind of like tossed it.
They played no.
My hot take is that Xiaohu wants something to prove because he's been under Uzi's shadow for so long. If you think about it, like Xiaohu never got credit. Like think of how many times they went up against STAT, how they defeat that Gen G team to make it to the semifinals of that 1 year, but they got reverse swept. Like Xiaohu gets so much flack, but yet he's always consistent. He made the role swap, right? And we thought
that's crazy. I understand that he's done the role swap, but
he's won MVP.
It's crazy because he's always the weak side player for that team.
Yeah,
literally. I don't see him shining because he's literally all upon perma weak side.
His solution has been clean in LPL.
Like, even for RNG, their new mid laner Cryan, he's actually really good himself though. Like this mid laner that they now have along with the other teams, Humanoid's not bad himself. He's just been carrying a lot of games on his own.
Yeah, like, Cryan, I don't recall we saw him have an exceptional performance in the finals, but he was not a liability by any means. And the great shout out
is going to be a lot. Yeah.
And the great thing about Xiaohu topside is that he just did his job. You know, you go Gragas top and you just neutralize like the best top laner in the world and make sure he doesn't take your turret before 10 minutes. All right, cool. You get a gold star and free ramen at the end of this game. Like, let's go.
Yeah, maybe I just have a freaking bias against weak side top laners getting way too much credit. I hate it so much. But yeah, I think that I agree.
You don't like how much attention Odoamne gets?
But he
Odoamne, Fudge, Xiaohu.
No, but Xiaohu played Lucian and a ton of Jace. Like that's not weak side, bro. That's not weak side.
No. I was talking about in the finals. I thought we were referencing the finals.
No, he played Jace. He played Jace in the finals, and he still
weak side Jace. He played a weak side Jace.
To be fair, later in the game, he was carrying.
He was carrying.
Later, it's a 0-4 Jace, but he was making it work. I'll just I'm my boy out there.
I forget which game it was. I feel like it was a LCK game.
It was like 5-0.
No, I'm thinking. I swear this was an LCK game. It could have been an LPL game. It was a Quinn, and the Quinn was like 4-6, but the Quinn could still solo kill like the Renekton, like in between like Pixel Brush and tier 2 tower, like that little just. I was like, I've never seen a top laner feed so hard, but it still be working. Like 2 kills like in 5 minutes, and it's like late mid game, but that Quinn was still deadly, just like flying, just oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we have today. I mean, I get how all these things go. You're a fan of a team and you want to root for them, but if you look at things objectively. To be fair, in most situations, the better players win. Now, to be fair, can Cloud9 win MSI? If Cloud9 win MSI, I'll actually just have a heart attack at work and actually die. Because I'm like, what the fuck happened? Perks won 2 MSIs. Can Perks be a back-to-back champion MSIs? It's crazy, man. Hey.
My future wear is going to have a hard time.
I think they can make semifinals for sure. I definitely feel like they can make semifinals.
Yeah. Well, let's do this.
Crazy takes. Crazy predictions.
Not even crazy takes, because here's the funny thing. Unicorns of Love are going to get out of groups.
That's true.
What?
You think so?
They're going to beat Mad Lions.
No. Check group setup for 2021.
Oh, you're saying the first
round robin they're going to get out of,
Oh, the first round robin.
For the group stage. Yeah, for the group stage. They're going to basically get into the knockout stage. Why doesn't Group D show up here? That's weird.
No, it's only 3 groups.
They changed it to 3 groups?
No, it was always 3 groups.
Okay. Yeah. I'm missing something. Okay, no,
the Vietnam team isn't going to come.
Yeah.
So they're going to have two people advance from each group, which is why I think that Warren's take.
But that's still
Group B being the hardest is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
But that's LPL versus LCL versus LCO, which for those that don't know is China versus Russia Plus versus Australia, and I expect UOL to beat Australia.
Yeah. I think that's a reasonable take.
I agree with that.
That's like Sheepy just gets to hang out with like, I still have the most successful European team, even in a weaker region. Go fuck yourselves. So let's make the play out here. So that's Group A. So Group B, Mad Lion, PSG, Istanbul Wildcats, which is a TCL. PSG is the Hong Kong
PCS now.
Yeah, I think that it might be a hard group in terms of who might get first, Warren. But if you think that Mad Lions getting third is a real possibility,
no,
I don't know what to say.
I don't think it's. What I mean is, I think the games are going to be closer than we think. That's what I'm saying. Like this isn't gonna be like a pushover. TCL has shown that they're stepping up slowly with like Supermassive. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mad Lions I'm not saying they're not going to play good, because they definitely want to make up for last year's rules, right? They have
this would be the biggest choke of all time in EU history. If they don't make it past to the second round robin, holy hell, EU would have oh my god, they would actually just be banished.
I think that these games are going to be much closer than we think. Like it's. Like the teams like the Turkey might lose or will lose, but it's going to be a closer game. And if they don't play a good game, they could easily sneak a win here or there. That's what I'm saying for that group.
Who's on this roster of the Turkish team? So you have Starscreen. I love that name. Ferret, Saren, Holy Phoenix. I've heard of this guy before.
I've been watching Starscreen. That guy has been spamming Akali like nobody's business in the top lane.
Okay. I'm just going through some of these players. So I know BRTT, he's obviously
Tin owns his mid laner when Tin owns is not on a supportive pick.
I remember Tin owns. Yeah, I remember that guy.
That dude go hard. Robo though has this tendency to end. He was Tristan into a Rumble top lane during the semifinal, and that he almost got solo killed twice. So Karaoke is a monster jungler.
PSG have Maple.
I don't know any of these players, so I'm
PSG have Hanabi.
Hanabi is actually pretty good.
Hanabi is he's solid top laner. Unified's always been a pretty good bot laner. Kaiwen's a pretty good support.
Maple.
Decent. They have Maple. Hey, Maple's back, man. Oh shit. I mean, there's some pretty solid teams. Warren might be right. I mean, maybe.
I'm not saying that this is not like we have PSG and Mad should get out, right? But I'm saying like when it comes to the games, don't be surprised if the games are like this is the group to watch. Like it's competitive. These games are fun. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like the group with Damwon and C9 should be stomps. They really should be stomps. Clearly.
Yeah.
Hey man, Dead Nation Focus Me could get the revenge from 2018. Oh no!
I completely agree. If C9 doesn't make it out of this group, they deserve to be.
Oh, Oh, that
Yeah.
Like that
$11
is
million buyout.
unacceptable.
Yeah,
That is
Oh my
absolutely
God.
unacceptable.
Group C is the group of death on account of just Cloud9 being contendable and Damwon Gaming just being God.
Yeah,
So,
and I think it's really unlucky because this was my take the previous episode, which is that if Cloud9 was in any of the other groups, I really think that they might even get first.
Yeah.
And there's a real like Damwon just this is actually a 3-group show, just like the first one, except there's only one seed that gets out. So it's just an unfortunate situation that C9 has to be in this group, but I agree that if they don't make it, it's still pretty unexcusable.
My issue here with how Unicorns of Love played last year is I haven't got a chance to watch their games recently. Nomad's got gapped almost every single time they played. He was just always dying. Anatic really could only go to top lane generally. So my issue with Unicorns of Love is that if they've actually refined their playstyle and Nomads has, obviously learned his lessons from last year, they're still not a bad team. Like looking at these players like 10Ls, I remember that guy. He was on Kaboom back in the day. Even some of the wildcard teams that have come up through the past, these guys aren't really that bad. There's a world where Unicorns of Love might upset RNG a couple times, I could see it, honestly. Because remember, it does take time for some of these teams to kind of ramp up to get to their final form, quote unquote. So,
and they might do some cheesy. Well, I hate using that word cheesy, but you might see Vladimir bottom because you never know. Like you really never know.
We'll respectfully call it surprise straps.
What's up, Sean? How you doing, man? Do you think Arome and Shadow would have joined Golden Guardians if they were sent offers?
No, I would jump out a window first.
Good God. Holy shit.
I don't think that Shadow is
that's what I appreciate about you, Warren.
He just wants to just commit suicide because he lives in New York.
He may not be dead after that, but his legs will be broken. He'll be happier about that than Arome.
No, Arome, nah, man. There's just better talent. No offense.
Exactly. Well, that's a Finn tier talent that we don't want to import. Please
don't import Arome. If you import Arome, I might stop watching LCS games. I'm just fucking with you guys. I would stop watching this dog shit region. I love this dog shit region.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit!
May the LCS become the WWE, and we become the entertainment capital of League of Legends.
That's what I'm memeing, but like honestly, full send. Bring back Breaking Point. Bring back every single reality TV show.
Yep.
TSM Cribs. Oh shit!
Make Sneaky come back and make him wear cosplays on stage.
I was memeing in reaction to Kofta earlier in chat, but I do want to see Bjergsen do a pile driver with double lift in his hands, like just throw him through a prop table on the analyst desk. I'll be happy.
Yeah.
That's a world championship to me. I'm
just a little disappointed that Vietnam is still pulling this mess from last year. I really wanted to see Gigabyte Marines because I caught like 1 or 2 games and they're just fun to watch, and like it would have definitely added something to that group because Levi is still a good jungler in my opinion, and I think he got misused when he was on 100 Thieves as well. So like I just think it's silly, like with all the precautions and their countries like still no, if you leave you're basically SOL. That's just you're like ruined. Like these people don't have once in a lifetime. Because you don't know when you're gonna get back to MSI or World, even if you bomb. And I just think that's just so wrong of them to do that again.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Humanoid tweeted MSI was so easy. Oh God, I love trash talk, man. I love me some trash talk. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I hope Cloud9 as their fan would win MSI. That would be. Oh shit! I don't know how I would feel. I'd be, I don't know, coming up on stream butt naked that day if they went MSI. Holy shit! But
I think I'll actually start a religion under First's name. Jesus Christ!
You could be
I will buy you a jersey if they win.
You could be Copter. You could be called a Koferks.
You can if C9 makes it, I will gladly buy. If C9 makes it to the finals, I will get you your next jersey.
Hey, if C9 doesn't play Damwon in the
semifinals,
then it's possible. But yeah.
Hey man, TL took down IG, and to be fair, because people have asked me what is my favorite upset of all time, G2 versus RNG or IG versus TL are probably my favorites. Because like to be fair, TL versus IG was like no one legitimately thought they were gonna win. It was like pretty much 99-1 people thought they were gonna win. It was pretty much only just like TL staff that thought they were gonna win. It was like so lopsided, man. Like it was bad. Like there's a world you could think like G2 could be RNG because RNG during Worlds they do choke sometimes.
I think G2 versus SKT was the one for me where like literally
I predicted them to win actually.
Really?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Win.
At that point I was never going to predict against Faker.
Really? Yeah. Because SKT played too slow. Their playstyle was just too slow.
Yeah, I know, but I've literally seen Faker just carry them all the way up until that point, and then okay, all right, stop it. No blasphemy here.
Who? Oh, you said Showmaker? Oh yeah, he's pretty relevant.
You mean Shaker? No, okay, guys, I'm just kidding.
No, you're right.
Just kidding.
I want Faker back. Trust me.
Yeah.
Or to be fair, IG versus KT Rolster. Now that wasn't really an upset though, because either or that could have went.
That should have never happened. That should have been
That's the finals.
That should have been a semifinal. That should not have been.
That's the finals right there. That's the finals. There's no way. I don't care what any Fnatic fans say. There's no way you're beating KT Rolster.
No way.
You must be. You're smoking hard crack. The hardest crack I smoke every day. No way they beat KT Rolster. Not even close. You're crack smokers. But EO, what be your favorite upset of all time? Because you've been watching for a long time too.
I wasn't prepared for this question.
One that really surprised you, like you were not expecting it though.
Kaboom. Best of one.
No.
So overrated.
I'm trying to find something that was actually a surprise for, and I think it's not even that it was the moment that came to mind was when it was like CLG TSM where Double Lift was on the Tristana and just started popping and just took it all.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it might have been Stixay. The other one was, I don't even know if it began to come back. It's just iconic plays are running through my head right now where like Piglet is pushing up mid lane on Caitlyn and there's a double teleport on a ward. And I didn't know that was a thing. I don't think anyone really knew that was a thing or something.
I didn't.
Even the guys were surprised and it's like, Piglet's dead.
When CLG RNG, when they clawed back from like a 10,000 gold deficit and shit. Back in MSI 2016, they were losing they were losing the entire game. RNG, classic RNG, always throwing and shit. You never know, man. All right, last question, and we are going to head here. I got to get to my other show later on tonight, which Warren will be on, but I don't like Warren, so he's not going to be on, though. I'm just kidding. I love you, sexy bastard.
Sure.
LJL will do well internationally when their new talent finally defeats these old guards like Evi or Evi? EVI? Well, I'll try and watch some other minor regions stuff. It's not like I don't like watching them. It's like when you're factoring out a League of Legends season for just me watching most of the regions and then also factoring in doing content too. So that's why I have, like these guys will do content for me now so I can sit on my ass and do nothing. Just kidding, guys.
Yeah, I don't watch minor regions, unfortunately. I didn't have time, but I'm
also for Worlds. Remember, when we get to Worlds, I gotta have some of you guys watch LCK and LPL because how will we talk about the best players?
More LPL for sure.
Yeah, because like if we don't watch the LPL, the LCK, how can we do like top 20 best players? Or because Perk's best player at Worlds 2021. Why? I don't know.
I just have one question.
I watch the playoffs, but that's about it. Yeah.
I just have one question. Maybe one of you guys can answer. What happens? So will they be doing the same thing again they did last year where they gave EU or like whatever other teams that make it to the finals four spots, or how's that gonna like happen?
If NA win MSI, I get 4 spots.
Yeah, I actually don't know if it's just this MSI because last time they had to skip MSI because there was no MSI. So they took the Worlds results of the previous year. So if they do take MSI results and NA does make it to the finals, it's going to create a really shitty situation where there's going to be a lot of backlash because our number 3 and 4 team are not in the same ballpark, guys. So
unless
we'll see what happens.
Is the 4th team.
If 100 Thieves is the 4th team
or 3rd team,
yeah, I mean 100 Thieves might be the 3rd or 4th team, but
they need a lot.
We'll see how they do in the summer. But based on what we saw this
he's like, oh no, if I see 100 Thieves in TSM at Worlds, I'm gonna jump off a cliff.
Well, if 100 Thieves is really good with Abadage, I'll eat my words. But I don't think that this level of TSM going to Worlds.
TSM at Worlds, lol. Like what?
No, I if TSM improves, if they get really good in the summer, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, based on what we saw in the spring, if we ended up seeing a TSM and 100 Thieves of this spring, go to Worlds. That is a travesty for other regions with actual good number 3, number 4 teams. So we'll see if it's just like that. But I think that generally speaking, it ends up working itself out because play-ins neutralize any really bad teams. I just really don't want to see an NA 4th seed in the play-ins.
So like
I think that's just
like hell no. I would
Dignitas. Let's go, baby.
I feel like we're just exposing ourselves to embarrassment at that point.
I would drown myself at that point.
Our number 4 team is not going to make it out of play-ins. I don't think so.
Oh my god.
The only time I have confidence in our number 4 team making out of play-ins is if Whippo comes to NA as a mid laner and demands a good team. That's about
it. And with that, that's pretty much it, guys. Anything else you want to say before we close out? We had a pretty good show, actually. Show went pretty good.
I'm rooting for RNG and C9. I always root for my NA team, and I love LPL. I'm not a fan of LCK, so those are the 2 teams I'm rooting for. That's go RNG.
C9 win, baby. Let's go. C9 winning MSI 2021. Let's go.
In Blabber we trust, and then once it's mid game in Perks.
I was gonna say if Perks doesn't win an MVP at some point in his career, that's just a travesty. This guy is always MVP quality candidate. That's just me. All right, last question. We're heading out. PSG Challenge has some potential to upset EU and NA. Well, I mean, to be fair, PSG did beat Rogue last year, so and Machi beat TL. Anything's possible, man.
This will actually be a very, very good litmus test for Detonation focusing in the region of LJL with Japan, because they actually do get to kind of scrim and play with, I believe, mostly the Korean teams. So Japan may find itself competing and even outclassing the rest of the minor regions. So they could surprise us, or they could actually just focus and blow up and complete disaster. So either way, they could, but yeah, we need to see it. We need to see it.
And with that, we are going to head out of here, guys. See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe, most of all, enjoy. See you guys here next week because, well, more games will have passed and MSI 2021 will have taken place. So lots of games. All right, guys, make sure you do your prep. I'll be doing mine too. See you guys later. Peace. I'm the Nightwing, and we're signing out. Goodbye.